بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Now, باب أحكامهم في السفر. The Sufis who are on their way to Allah Azza wa Jal, they have certain rules when they travel, more than what we ordinary Muslims do. And they travel by body and they travel by soul. And some of them travel by body and soul. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, هو الذي يسيركم في البر والبحر. Allah is the one who enable you to travel on land and sea. There's a lot of ayah قل سيروا في الأرض, travel throughout the earth and find how he originated the creation. كيف بدأ الخلق. سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة الذين من قبلكم. Travel throughout the earth and see what the destination, the end result of those who were before you. And in the hadith of the Prophet, Allah told us, the Prophet ﷺ taught us when we travel that we have to quote this hadith. He used to say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar 3 times. And then this text, سبحان الذي سخر لنا هذا وما كنا له مقرنين. Ability to travel, probably have good shoes or have good car or have good camel or have good train or whatever it is. وَمَا كُنَّا لَهُ مُقْرِنِينَ. We were not able ourselves to provide that. And we all go back to Allah Azza wa Jal. And then he said, Oh Allah, Allahumma inna nas'aluka fi safarina haza al-birra wa taqwa. We ask you to, throughout this travel, to have piety and being conscious of Allah Azza wa Jal and do the good things which you are happy with. So we only do the deeds which make you pleased. And Allah make our travel easy. هون علينا سفرنا. There's another hadith, واطوي عنا بعده. Make the distance short. And I don't know, we felt it quite a few times that, we just arrived. We thought it will take longer than this. And subhanAllah, Allah make it a bit shorter. And then Allahumma anta as-sahibu fi as-safar. You are the companion during the travel, and you are the one who replaced us with our family, looking after our family. Allah has you ask Allah to help you from the hardship of the safar and the bad look from the safar, because you're all disheveled become, and your clothing and your sweat and things, and وكآبة المنقلب, you might become really depressed and you didn't get what you want, and you might look really bad when you go back to your family. So you ask Allah to make you really handsome and nice, and when you go back home you say آيبون تائبون لربنا حامدون. So we're coming back and repent to Allah Azza wa Jal and thanking Allah Azza wa Jal. So some of the scholars chose to travel, some of them never traveled. So some never traveled unless it's for Hajj or a duty has to do, like a Junaid and Sahel ibn Abdullah and Abi Zayd al-Bustami and Abi Hafiz. ومنهم some who chose to always travel, like Abi Abdullah al-Maghribi or Ibrahim al-Adham. And a lot of them traveled in their early life, and they carried on traveling till they died, like Abi Abdullah al-Maghribi or Ibrahim ibn Adham. And some of them traveled, or a lot of them traveled early in their life and then sat after that, and they died in the same place. So at the beginning they were traveling, then they chose to stay, not to travel. And that's the travel with your body and soul, and you go from A to B. But to travel with the heart, and you travel from being like stingy, mean, to being generous. You travel from being rude to being kind. You travel from being useless to being helpful. So you travel with the characters. You go, you decide, you actually find yourself, you switch. You were not like this before, or a state of lack of knowledge to a state of full of knowledge. And I'm saying here, Abu Ali al-Daqaq asked one of the scholars in a city near him, have you traveled at all? He said, through the land, or in the land or in the sky. He said, in the land I haven't traveled, but he traveled in the sky. I know one of my teacher's student. He said he experienced Mi'raj many times, going to heaven and come back. And one of the people wanted to meet Ali Dakhaq, and he said to him, I traveled from so-and-so place to see you. He said to him, if you travel from being selfish, only concerned about yourself, you will reach me in one step. So, like, there is in these scholars, there are some who are actually Ahlul Khatwa. We read that one step and they are there. So we read during going through the book that somebody visited one of the scholars and he said to him, we will pray in so-and-so place, Jumu'ah. He said, oh, it'll take us a week to get there. They said, no, don't worry. And they went uphill, and they found the city they're going to. So it was like, a travel of a week done in 2 hours. And Ahnaf al-Hamadani, he was traveling alone, and then he felt lonely and frightened or something. And then he said, oh Allah, I am weak, and I came to visit you, and I'm your guest. So he said, Allah might say, who called you? Who asked you to come and see me or visit me? And while he was thinking in his mind, he said, I will answer Allah that I'm like a parasite, like to, without invitation, like to throw myself in. Like if you go to a wedding, I'm sure some weddings people get in without being invited. It happens in Syria. And he found behind him there's a Bedouin came. And he said to him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Allah Azza wa Jalla, visit Allah, means Mecca. He said to him, has he invited you? He said, no, but I'm like a parasite, and I'm sure he will accept one, the whole earth, an extra one is not going to break the bank. And he said to him, but he said, should come to Hajj, whoever can afford it, man istata'a ilayhi sabila. And then he said to him, do you know how to handle a camel? How to ride a camel and set and stop, and because it has certain skills. He said yes. He said, okay, take my camel and go. And so Allah sent him straight away, even a camel to go on. And somebody asked Sheikh Kuttani, he said, advise me, and he said to him, try to be a guest in a mosque each night, which means you don't have a house. So you don't have a house, you just go from place to place, keep traveling. And Al-Husari said, Jalsat khair min alfa hijjah. Jalsatu khair. If you're really with Allah Azza wa Jal, in one setting is better than 1,000 hijjah. We are not with Allah Azza wa Jal. وإنما أراد جلسة تجمع الهم على نات الشهود, sitting with Allah Azza wa Jal away from people. And Al-Farghani said, كنا نسافر مقدار 20 سنة وأنا وأبو بكر والزقاق والكتاني. They don't want, they traveled for like 20 years, he and Abu Bakr al-Zaqqaq and al-Kittani, Ismail Farghani, and they didn't mix with anyone because they want to be with Allah Azza wa Jal all the time, traveling from. Once they get known, they go somewhere else, not known. Because people start asking them and start inviting them, they don't have enough time with Allah Azza wa Jal. So he said, the typical of us will be like al-Kittani will be standing praying during the night, and al-Zaqqaq will be sitting doing zikr facing the Kaaba, and I will be thinking, lying down thinking about the fiqh until the Fajr. فإذا وقع معنا إنسان ينام كما نراه أفضلنا. If any man walked in and he slept in the mosque, they will say he's the best one of us. So without showing off. So they were just, but they are like, traveling always and with Allah Azza wa Jal wherever they land. And Ruwaym said that Safar, you don't worry about anything. You don't worry about anything. Even the next step, you want to put it, you don't worry where it's going to land. So, like us, it's snow, or am I touching that black ice or whatever? And Malik ibn Dinar said that Musa was told to have 2 shoes of iron and a stick of iron and move around the earth and look into the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal and what has been happening before the remains of others until your shoes wear off and stick break, which will take a long time, obviously, to wear off. Shoes are made out of iron. And I said Abu Abdullah al-Maghribi used to travel a lot and used to go with the ihram to Mecca and back, and you see that as if he just got dressed, all his ihram still brand new and still white, and there's no sign of any traveling on him. And he used to go walk with his followers, and he used to be in the front. I used to tell them, you on the right, mind that stone, that rock. You on the left, mind this, So like if I was seeing them from behind them. And here Abi Ali Ribati قال صاحبته Abdullah al-Murwazi. He went with Abdullah al-Murwazi, and Abdullah al-Murwazi said to him, would you like to be the leader, or I am the leader? He said, no, you are the leader. So he was like, serving him and cooking for him, and until he reached a stage that he said, I wish I never said, yes, you are the leader, because he became his servant. Now the leader in our mind that you do this, you do this, you do this. While he, the leader, I'm serving him and him and him. And one of the things, it was raining, and he woke up in the morning and he found him that he's on top of him, covering him from the rain with a dress which doesn't allow the water, like something of a leather or something. So he was covering him from the rain, because he's the leader. The leader is the servant of the people. So he said to him, when you go on a journey with somebody like me, behave like me. So if you are the leader, this is what you expected to do. And Ibrahim al-Khawas was sitting, and Aqrab, a scorpion, was climbing on his clothing. And his follower said, no, mind that scorpion. He said, look how Allah Azza wa Jal made it. Even the animals want us. Even the animals want to be our companions. So he didn't bother, me and you will be jumping and scorpion. And Abdullah al-Nasibi, he said, I traveled for 30 years. I never needed to stitch my clothing, and I never went to a place where I know somebody. If you go and know somebody, he will be, chatting with you all the time and inviting you for food and take you here and show you there, disconnect you from Allah Azza wa Jal. So he wants not to be disconnected with Allah Azza wa Jal. So when they travel, they never leave anything of their awrad, tasbih, and alhamdulillah. وقالوا الرخص من كان سفره ضرورة. They were not taking the rukhas, like joining the prayer, because this is by choice, not because of like they're going for work or for seeking treatment or going to Hajj or something. And somebody وقع بصر القمر, he read on the moon, Allah will be protecting you. يحتاج المسافر أربع أشياء. You need knowledge, fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, and something to carry you, and a good manner and good behavior. And you run away from the bad behavior of some people. For some reason they repeated it. So in their safar, they need a needle to stitch your clothing, so you cover your awra, and you need water to use when you go to the loo. You don't need more than that. So Abi Abdullah Razi said, I went out of Tartus without shoes on me. And I had a friend. So he he went with him. He had no shoes on. So he took his shoes on, the second guy. So he said, and then when they were reached another village, he said somebody came and gave him shoes as gift. He said, take it because I took off my shoes in agreement to look like you. The other guy had no shoes. If he had shoes, he would have used them. So don't look like him and take off your shoes. And Kattani asked his mother to go to Hajj. She said, yes, off you go. And then while he was, just started the journey, he had some najasa, urine on his clothing. And then he said, that wouldn't hit me unless there's something wrong with my permission. So he went back to his mother and he found her sitting by the door. And she said, since you left, I asked Allah to send you back. So yes, she said, yes, go. But inside, she didn't actually want him to go. So Allah made him, cut his journey short and go back. You're in a hurry to go? You have 2 minutes. So سمعت أبا نصر الصوفي. I said I went on the sea in Oman, and I became really very hungry. And then I went to a market and I found somebody selling like barbecued meat and things and some sweet. And I got hold of a man and he said, buy me some sweet and some meat. I said to him, why? Do I owe you anything? Are we related? And while he's talking to him, another man came and, no, it's me. I'm supposed to buy him. You leave him. So he bought him. It's like Allah sent this guy to buy him the food, but he was a few steps short. So they, leave him. He's asking the wrong guy. So this story حكى عن أبي الحسين المصري. أنفقت مع الشجري في السفر بين طرابلس صرنا أياما نأكل شيئا. So he said, I went with a guy called الشجري, and we walked for days without any food. Then I saw pumpkin. So he started eating from it, and the الشجري looked at him and what are you doing? And then they were given 5 dinars. So the 5 dinars, this guy, Hassan al-Masri, thought, now he will buy food, decent food for us. So he went with him. He didn't buy the food. Then he went to a family, and that family were, he has children, and they all were hungry and didn't have food. He bought them. He gave him the 5 dinars, and that guy bought food for his family and himself, and he fed both Al-Hussein al-Masri and Al-Shajari. And then after they finished, he said, you can't be my friend anymore, because you were misjudging me. You had bad thought about me, because at the beginning, when you start eating the pumpkin, you didn't come and say, come and join me. And then you were thinking that I had the 5 dinars and I'm not spending any on you. So you're not trusting me, and you don't have good, let's say you can't be my friend. And he left him. So this nice story as well. Somebody called Muhammad bin Abdullah Shirazi, he said, Abdullah ibn Khafif, he said, when I was young, I was poor, and I was really hungry. And a man saw me, and he took me to his house, and he cooked for me kishk and meat, and the meat was rotten. So I asked him to eat from the meat. He didn't know it was rotten. He thought that he was like good to him, eat meat as well. So he had the first swallow and hardly was able to swallow it. Then he said, eat again, a second one. So he had the second one and he was like vomiting. And then the guy realized that this is rotten meat. I should not ask him to eat. And he said I felt embarrassed on his behalf, that he was really embarrassed. He asked me to eat the meat, which is, and then he left him, and he sent to his mother, so he was on his way back, and he asked his mother to send him something, for the next trip. And then he went on the next trip, and he was really hungry, and there was nothing there to eat. They only found a dog, so they barbecued the dog, and he ate just to keep alive, because it's halal to eat if it's. Then he realized that I should have not been grumbled when I ate rotten meat, because Allah punished me by making me eat dog meat. So you are his friend, don't show any disappointment. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.